Hello and welcome to Tech Deal's Game Performance Review Battlefield 1. We're playing Battlefield 1 today on two different graphics cards, the GeForce GTX 970 and the GeForce GTX 1070. Both cards are from EVGA. Both cards are the For the Win edition. Now, both of these cards are installed in the exact same computer. It is a custom-built i7-4790K processor from Intel, 16 gigs of DDR3 2400 MHz RAM installed in an ASUS Z97 Pro motherboard. We are testing three different resolutions today: 1080p, 1440p, and 2160p, also known as 4K or Ultra HD. We're going to start off with the 1080p resolution, and after that we will cover the 1440p and the 2160p or 4K resolution later in the video. Now up front, let me tell you that Fraps was used for the minimum, maximum, and average game performance numbers you will see in this video, and NVIDIA's Shadowplay was used to record the game footage you are currently watching. Please note that Shadowplay reduces overall frame rate by between 5 to 10%. The reported numbers you will see in this video are with Shadowplay on. I have done various testing and I'm comfortable with the 5 to 10% number, so if you wish, you can mentally add 5 to 10% to the numbers you see in this video to see what you'll get without Shadowplay recording on. The numbers in green at the top left corner of the screen are from MSI Afterburner. The very top line is the graphics chip itself. The first percentage is the percentage of utilization of the graphics chip, then the temperature, the percentage of fan speed, the actual RPM of the fan itself, and then the clock rate of the graphics chip. The second line is the speed of the graphics card memory. Remember, you have to double that since it's double data rate memory. It's really running at 7 gigahertz. And then the actual amount of the graphics memory that's being utilized. Then you have the frame rate in real time of the game itself. Then you have the CPU utilization, the CPU temperature, and then the final line is the actual RAM being used itself. One final note: the original footage from all the games that I played was over 3 hours long. I have edited that down since nobody wants to watch 3 hours of gameplay, so there will be title cards put in front of each transition of resolution and cards so that you know what you're watching. And at the end of this video, I'll have all the performance numbers at all three resolutions on both cards. I'll turn the sound up now. Enjoy.
An anti-vehicle kit is available near your location. We have lost objective butter. kit is available near your location. We have taken objective butter. We have lost objective Edward. We are losing objective apples.
Throwing a grenade, watch it! Get cover!
We are losing objective apples.
So, that was 3 different resolutions on 2 different cards, a total of 6 benchmarks. I hope you enjoyed watching my wonderful Battlefield 1 playing. Let's take a look at those results. 1080p resolution, Ultra HD, GTX 970, an average of 98 frames per second, minimum of 71, and a max of 148. That is totally and completely playable. Turn VSync on and you'll have a smooth, solid, steady 60 frames per second with no issues. Yes, performance will vary from map to map and situation to situation, but I have no doubt a GTX 970 will play this perfectly at 1080p. What about the 1070? It certainly is faster. If you have a high refresh rate monitor, it's worth considering a 1070, an average of 131 frames a second with a minimum of 92 and a max of 201. Again, add 5 to 10% to these numbers if you do not have shadow play recording. That does take some of the performance off. But if you're using a 970 and you're at 1080p, you don't need to upgrade. What about 1440p? At 1440p, again, both cards do very, very well and maintain at least a minimum 60 frame per second frame rate. I was genuinely impressed at this result. I did not expect the 970 to do this well on Battlefield 1, which is a brand new title. Now, the 1070 does have a higher frame rate at 99 frames per second, and again, remember, add the 5 to 10% back when shadow play is not recording. The max is more interesting, 142 versus 92. If you have a high refresh rate, such as 100 Hz or 144 Hz 1440p monitor, well, if you want to play at ultra detail, you'll probably need a GTX 1080. But if you want to go with a 1070, I would suggest switching to high detail, and then you should be able to run just fine on a high refresh rate monitor with a higher minimum frame rate. Either way, if you have a standard 60 Hz monitor, turn VSync on for a nice tear-free display. Both cards will run at a smooth, solid 60 frames a second without any issue at ultra detail. What about 4K? At 4K resolution, the GTX 970 simply runs out of steam, an average of 33 frames per second with a minimum of 23 and a max of 46. Ignoring the FPS for a minute, it wasn't playable. It was choppy, it was rough, it was not a good experience. I tried lowering it to low detail settings and I turned Shadow Play off. It still wasn't playable. It was a rough experience. I would never play it at 4K on a GTX 970. What about the 1070? Yes, it was very much playable. An average of 62 frames a second with a minimum of 45. Now you can add about 5 or so frames a second back to that minimum if you turn Shadow Play off. So with a minimum of about 50 with Shadow Play off, completely playable. I was very pleasantly surprised how nicely Battlefield 1 played at high detail at 4K resolution on a GTX 1070. If you lower the detail to medium, which I did try but is not in this video, then the minimum is really close to 60 frames per second with Shadow Play turned off at medium detail. That being said, if you really want to game at 4K, if you have a nice 4K monitor, get a GTX 1080. That's what 4K is really meant for. The GTX 1080 is a solid 20% faster than a 1070. It brings these numbers up and it really smooths out the game. There will be at some point a benchmark of Battlefield 1 on a GTX 1080. Look for that on my channel coming up soon. But as far as these two cards go, for 1080p or 1440p, they're actually both really, really good. But at 4K, the 1070 works. It is completely playable. I recommend a 1080, but if it's not in your budget, if you want to play at 4K, the 1070 does in fact work. Like this video if you like it. Don't if you don't. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button right down there. Leave your comments, questions, thoughts, feedback, and suggestions down below the video. And as always, check out the video description for all the good links to these graphics cards and other stuff. Please use those. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.